Hey folks, welcome to another episode of Widgets and Wonders. This is my show about great products from small companies. If you haven't seen it before, what I do is I'll usually try and shine a spotlight on something you haven't seen before, which could be a widget, measuring device, carrying cases, or even indie and developed games. And that's what we're looking at today. We're going to be looking at This Is Not a Test by World's End Publishing. Now, a lot of you guys ask me what it takes to make your own miniature game. Joseph McGuire in Maryland, he decided that he was just going to take the bull by the horns and actually make not just his own miniature game, but his own line of models as well for his favorite theme, which is the post-apocalypse. So without waiting too much, you guys can check out a game series I'm doing this same week. If you just look at my playlists, check out This Is Not a Test Nickel City, and you can see it actually in action. I did a 3-game series on it. But right now I'm going to take you through the rulebook and some of the models, and I hope you enjoy this look at This Is Not a Test by World's End Publishing.
Okay, so first things first, let's take a look at the rulebook. Now I got a watermarked PDF of it, and I just went to a local friend of mine who's a printer and got it printed and spiral bound, which is really handy for games actually, because when you're playing games, it's nice to be able to open stuff and put it flat. Now the first thing I noticed is it was full color. This was actually laid out by a friend of mine, Dave Taylor. Dave Taylor Miniatures. He actually does a whole bunch of layout and production stuff, so if you were a guy who's designed a game and you would like to get something laid out, go check him out. Go check out his Facebook page. He's a great guy. He does amazing work. And yeah, he's a mutual friend of myself and Joseph. So again, lavish, full color layout, beautiful art. Joseph had all this commission, as well as his own miniature collection in all the color sections and photography. This is Gas Mask Girl. She's kind of the unofficial mascot of the game. It's laid out like most rule books, but it does have a glossary. I find a lot of guys that write their own rules forget that a glossary can be incredibly important. And then, of course, some characters. Old line radio. This is Johnny Atomic. The radio station travels around the basin of Maryland, Chesapeake Bay, broadcasting the news. And as we go through, we get a basic idea of what's happened in Maryland. So he's set in his hometown. And that's what I did as well, was I decided to actually set my own little campaign in the Niagara region where I'm living. And he gives you an overview of where and how things happen. So it is set in the year 2077, which shares some similarities with a certain post-apocalyptic franchise. The Great War happened in 2077, and it's hundreds of years later. And as we go through, we learn about the warbands we can take. There's the basics of all the gameplay. Again, beautiful full-color artwork on every single page. It has rules for melee, of course, shooting, special rules, so all the skills that you can learn, your type, like if you're a human, a mutant, or an animal, and then the sort of like bits and pieces of mutations you can get. So if you become a mutant or you do a mutant warband, you can become a mutant. All the different monsters and things that are in the game, psychic powers, different locations. This is Trader's Gorge, and then a ton of different weapons, from primitive weapons through into relic weapons. Relic weapons are like the hyper advanced weapons like power armor, laser guns, plasma guns, all that stuff. And then finally you get into the warbands. This is the important section. There are 5 warbands in the basic rules. There's the caravanners, who are sort of the wasteland wanderers. So that would be anybody who's just kind of traveling the wastes. There's the mutants. And he actually has models for the mutants. You can check them out on his website. He sculpted some of those as well, but we're going to check out another warband today. There's the Raiders, so the classic evil leathers and feathers bad guys, the warband that you can play. And then there's the Preservers. These are the guys who are trying to save technology, so your sort of Brotherhood of Steel types. And last but not least, the Peacekeepers. And the Peacekeepers are sort of the regulators. Oh, sorry, actually, there's one more. There's the Tribals. The Tribals are the guys who've gone back to nature. So I think there's 6 warbands. And then, of course, at the end of it, there is the guys that I was playing, which are the Peacekeepers, the Law. And most of the warbands have a couple different ways you can play them. So, for instance, the Peacekeepers that I'm playing, they can either be led by a Road Marshal, which is sort of the average fighter guy, or a Hanging Judge. And the Hanging Judge is kind of the bad guy version. So you're either a ruthless judge or you're kind of a nice guy judge. Now, there are, of course, tons of miniatures in here that are from other companies, because this is a do-it-yourself game. You're encouraged to play with whatever your collection has and use any models you want. He provides models for some things, but you can do whatever you like. You can use the miniatures that you think look cool. And then, of course, there's campaign rules. So all the different scenarios you play in a campaign. There's exploration. There's all the wastes of the wasteland, like chupacabras and fungal crawlers and giant rats. And then the things that you will bump into as you play. And then finally, of course, there's your basic like death experience, campaign charts, your warband advancing and stuff too. So I would say that if you are a fan of this style game, even a recommended manufacturing, which I think is really cool here at the back. So the great miniatures that got used in making this in this book. This is a textbook example of someone who is a big fan of a genre, he's a big fan of a type of game, and he just took it unto himself to write it and make it and hang it out there. So I am super pro indie developers. I think indie developers are the lifeblood of an industry like this. They're doing new things all the time. I encourage people who play mainstream games to check out indie games too. And you should check out This Is Not a Test. I'm having a ton of fun playing it. You should go click the link in the description, check out the first game that we played, Cold Vengeance, between the Keepers of Peace Bridge and the Nickel City Marine Corps. Jason and I playing our 3-game series. And go check out World's End Publishing too. So there's the book. We're going to take a look at the models now. So now here are some of the miniatures from World's End Publishing. We've got some wasteland hazards, so some giant rats that he's had sculpted here that I've painted up, a giant rad scorpion or a rattler. Now when you roll at the beginning of the game, you see if there's a hazard on the table, and a whole bunch of different things come up. But the easiest way to do it is make your miniature collection for the models you want to have be in the wastes, and when a type of wasteland creature shows up, you just use them. So for instance, Nickel City is infested with giant mutant rats. Occasionally a scorpion shows up, but they're not as common, of course, in the Niagara region. They must have escaped from some kind of a lab and or pet store and then grown really big. And so yeah, we typically use the rats. And then we have my Peacekeeper Warband. Now these are actually the 5 Peacekeeper miniatures that are currently in production. So this one is the Road Marshal. We have the Outrider, who's kind of the scout with a sniper rifle. We have the Line Breaker, and there's 2 officers. This is actually another officer that I use the Line Breaker because I converted up with a motorcycle helmet and a shotgun. And the other officer back here has the M16. He's got an assault rifle. The girl in the back is actually Gas Mask Girl that I did a head swap to and an arm swap. I used an extra arm I had lying around to make another officer. And that's what's great about this is you actually get a pack of heads as well. He's not just done individual miniatures, but he's done accessory packs so that if you have miniatures that you want to convert into, like I did, Mounties, gave them all Mountie hats, you can do so. And a lot of the models come with options. So for instance, the Road Marshal comes with an an assault rifle option or a pistol option. There's lots of different head options too for the guys. And you can make your warband look fairly unique. So there it is. There's the miniatures for This Is Not a Test. I had a ton of fun painting them. He's actually got more in the works. And of course, based on how successful he is, that's how big he's going to make each warband. So I think he's told me he wants to get to 10 models per warband. So if you're a fan of Fallout and you just want to have some cool miniatures to play Fallout with, or if you're interested in checking out This Is Not a Test, check out World's End Publishing and their store. You just click the link below and see it. All right, guys, so there you go, World's End Publishing, and This Is Not a Test. I hope you enjoy this Widgets and Wonders. This is my show about great products from small companies, and this is, as always, an open door invitation. If you know someone who you think has an amazing product, be it a widget, a game, miniatures, bases, a model line, whatever that you think deserves a little bit more exposure, my door is always open. They can either send me photos of stuff, however they want to do it, that I can somehow make a video like this and put great small products in front of people. This whole series is intended to be a walk along the vendor's floor in Adepticon for you guys, or in Gen Con, where you get to see these small companies that you would normally see get a booth at a convention and show off their wares that you can't really see anywhere else. It's our friendly sort of like convention floor on the internet where you guys can see a bunch of cool things that I think deserve recognition. It's a really big deal to make something and put it out there, to hang out your shingle and design something that either supports or creates in the miniature wargaming industry, and there is tons of cool stuff out there. So either drop them my link, or you can suggest that I get in touch with them and I'll shoot them an email and see what they think. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you guys go and check out the series that we're doing. This Is Not a Test, Nickel City. I had a ton of fun filming it. You guys will probably have a ton of fun watching it. And if you do like warband skirmish games and you like the post-apocalypse, this is a super flexible rule set where you can set it anywhere, have rules to make the warband that you want to make, and enjoy a walk through the wastelands. So for more Widgets and Wonders, I'm Ash from Guerrilla Games. Thanks for watching and happy wargaming.